Picture this. It is a Saturday afternoon in March. You're sitting across from a builder at his kitchen table. Floor plan spread between you. Coffee going cold. He slides one plan across. This one, he says, kitchen here, master here, bath here. The quote comes in at $320,000. Then he slides a different plan. Same square footage, same finishes, same everything, except the layout. $268,000. You blink. What's the difference? He shrugs. You drew it better. Here's the thing most people never learn until after they've signed the contract. The floor plan is not just where the rooms go. It is the single most powerful cost reduction tool you have, and most people never use it. They pick a plan off the internet and start building. They just spent $50,000 they didn't have to spend, and they didn't even know they were spending it. Here are 6 floor plan strategies that save you $50,000 combined before you even break ground. Not 6 different barndominiums. 6 decisions you make while the pencil is still on the paper. And the first one is the one almost nobody thinks about until the plumbing bill arrives. Strategy 1, the wet wall cluster. Here's a number that should make you angry. Plumbing rough-in is the single largest trade cost after the shell and the concrete. And 90% of floor plans spread the plumbing across the house like they're trying to set a distance record. Kitchen sink on the east wall. Master bath on the west wall. Laundry in the north corner. Powder room by the front door. For separate plumbing runs. For separate vent stacks. For times of labor. The fix is almost stupidly simple. Draw a single interior wall, one wall, and put every single fixture against it. Kitchen sink on one side. Master bath and laundry on the other. Powder room at the end. Every drain, every supply line. Every vent runs through the same 14-foot section of 2x6 wall. Here's the savings math. A distributed plumbing layout costs $14,000 to $22,000 in rough-in labor and materials for a 1,800 square foot barndominium. A wet wall cluster drops that to $6,000 to $8,000. That is $8,000 to $14,000 saved before you've chosen a countertop. Here's the cruel irony. Most people design the kitchen first because it's the fun part, then scatter the bathrooms wherever the floor plan template suggests. The wet wall forces you to design the plumbing first, which is exactly the order the builder wishes you'd used. Honest trade-off. Your kitchen will be adjacent to a bathroom wall. Not everyone loves that. And if you want a master suite on the opposite end of the house for privacy, this strategy fights you. The fix is simple. Double the wall cavity and insulate for sound. That adds $400 in mineral wool. You're still $7,600 to $13,600 ahead. Strategy 2, the rectangle rule. Every time you add a corner to a floor plan, and I mean a literal 90-degree outside corner, you add $2,000 to $4,000. Framing gets more complex. Siding has more cuts. Foundation forms need more boards. Roof trusses need custom engineering. Even the soffit and fascia multiply their linear feet. Now, here's the wild part. A typical L-shaped barndominium has 6 outside corners. A simple rectangle has 4. That's 2 fewer corners. But that's not the whole story. Those 2 eliminated corners also eliminate about 40 linear feet of exterior wall, which eliminates about 40 linear feet of foundation, 40 linear feet of roof edge, 40 linear feet of siding, and about 120 square feet of sheathing, house wrap, and insulation. The combined savings, $12,000 to $18,000 for drawing a rectangle instead of an L. An H shape or a U shape is even worse. You're pushing 8 or 10 corners, and the price climbs geometrically because now you have inside corners too, and inside corners are where water wants to live. Does that sound too good to be true? It isn't. The rectangle is the cheapest possible building envelope for the square footage it contains. Every architecture student learns this in first year. Most of them forget it by graduation. Honest trade-off. A rectangle can feel basic. It doesn't photograph like a courtyard design. If curb appeal is your top priority and you're willing to pay for it, skip the strategy. But if you put that $18,000 into your finishes instead, now your rectangle has quartz counters, hardwood floors, and a tile shower while the L shape down the road still has builder-grade vinyl. Strategy 3. The stacked two-story. Here's a number that should reshape how you think about square footage. Foundation concrete costs $8 to $14 per square foot. Roofing costs $6 to $12 per square foot. Those two line items are the biggest checks you write after the steel frame. Now think about a 2,000 square foot single-story barndominium. You're pouring 2,000 square feet of slab. You're framing and sheathing 2,000 square feet of roof. The average cost of those two items combined in 2026, $28,000 to $52,000. Now think about a two-story, 1,200 square feet on the ground floor, 800 upstairs. You're pouring 1,200 square feet of slab. You're roofing 1,200 square feet. Same 2,000 total square feet, but your foundation and roof just dropped by 40%. Savings, $11,000 to $21,000. But here's where it gets interesting, and this connects directly to Strategy 1. When you stack the second floor bathroom directly above the first floor kitchen and laundry, you share the same plumbing stack. One vertical chase. No horizontal runs. Savings on top of savings. Another $4,000 to $7,000. If you're getting real value from this, right now is the moment to subscribe. More videos like this are already in production. Honest trade-off. Stairs eat floor space, about 80 to 100 square feet per level, plus the stair opening itself. In a compact barndominium, that's 5% of your square footage gone before you place a single piece of furniture. You're also adding complexity to the frame engineering. And if anyone in your household has mobility issues, a two-story is the wrong call. But if your lot is narrow or you're building in an area where foundation costs are high, the stacked two-story is the most efficient floor plan geometry available. Strategy 4. The right size footprint. Most people build 15 to 20% more house than they need. Not because they want to, because the floor plan they downloaded had an extra bedroom, a formal dining room nobody will ever eat in, and a sitting room that, let's be honest, will hold a treadmill that holds laundry. Here's the thing. Every 200 square feet you eliminate saves you $18,000 to $36,000 in construction cost, but also saves you about $400 a year in heating and cooling. Over 30 years, that one decision, trimming 200 square feet, is worth $30,000 to $48,000. The strategy is not build smaller. The strategy is build exactly what you use and lay it out so every square foot works twice. A dining table that's also the homework station. A laundry that's also the mudroom. A guest room that's also the home office. When the floor plan makes rooms do double duty, you don't need as many rooms. A 1,500 square foot barndominium designed with zero wasted square footage will outfunction a 2,000 square foot traditional home with a hallway running down the middle of it every single time. Honest trade-off. This requires genuinely honest self-assessment. Most people cannot tell you how many square feet they actually use in their current home. If you get this wrong, you're living in a house that feels tight. And resale value partially depends on bedroom count and square footage. Right sizing for your life may look small on a listing. Whether that matters to you is a personal call. Strategy 5. The south-facing thermal layout. This one doesn't save you money during construction. It saves you money every single month for the rest of your life. And it's entirely a floor plan decision. Here's how it works. You orient the long axis of the building east-west. You put every living space, kitchen, living room, dining, along the south wall with 60% of the glazing. You put the bedrooms, bathrooms, storage, and utility on the north wall with minimal windows. In winter, low-angle sun pours through the south glass and hits the concrete floor, which absorbs the heat during the day and releases it at night. The architecture does the heavy lifting. In summer, the sun is high enough that simple roof overhangs shade the south glass completely. The building heats itself in January and shades itself in July, and you haven't touched a thermostat. Here's the savings math. The passive solar gain allows you to right-size the HVAC system. Instead of a 3.5-ton unit fighting the building, you install a 2-ton unit that just handles the edges. Equipment savings, $5,000 to $8,000 upfront. Operational savings, $800 to $1,400 per year. Over 30 years at current energy prices, that's $29,000 to $50,000. Honest trade-off. This only works if your lot orientation and site plan allow it, if your driveway approaches from the south, or a neighbor's two-story blocks your winter sun. The strategy collapses. You also need thermal mass in the floor. Polished concrete is ideal, and if you were planning carpet, that's a design conflict. This is not a universal strategy, but if your site has unobstructed southern exposure, ignoring it is leaving money on the table every month. Strategy 6. The Phase 1 Shell. Here's the most overlooked floor plan strategy in residential construction, and it's standard practice in commercial building. Design the full 2,000 square foot barndominium on paper. Pour the foundation for all 2,000 square feet. Frame the roof for all 2,000 square feet, but finish only 1,200 square feet on day one. The remaining 800 square feet is roughed in. Electric panel oversized, plumbing stub to the slab, HVAC trunk lines run and capped. It's a conditioned, weather-tight shell with a concrete floor, ready for finish out whenever the cash is ready. Here's the savings breakdown. You're financing $120,000 to $180,000 less at closing. At a 7% construction loan, that's $8,400 to $12,600 in avoided interest over the first 5 years. Your property tax assessment reflects 1,200 finished square feet, not 2,000. That's $40 to $80 a month, or $2,400 to $4,800 over those same 5 years. Combined savings, $10,800 to $17,400. And here's the thing most people miss. When you finish the shell in year 5, you're paying cash or a much smaller loan at potentially lower rates. You're not financing future space at today's construction costs. Honest trade-off. You're living next to an unfinished shell for several years. A vapor barrier and one framed wall separate your living room from a concrete box. Some spouses are fine with this. Others are decidedly not. You also need a builder willing to phase the project. Not all of them are, but if you have patience and a clear finish-out timeline, the Phase 1 shell is the single most financially intelligent floor plan decision available. In conclusion, these 6 strategies are not for everyone. If you're building in a development with an HOA that dictates orientation and setbacks, you can ignore the south-facing strategy. If you're on a slab in Florida where plumbing runs through the slab and not walls, the wet wall cluster is less relevant. If you're financing through a bank that won't underwrite a phase build, strategy 6 is dead on arrival. But if you're designing a barndominium from scratch, you have the pencil. Use it. Every line you draw is either costing you money or saving you money. Most people only learn which is which after the concrete is poured and the plumbing is in. You just learned it in 12 minutes. Drop a comment below. Which of these 6 strategies would you actually use in your build? I read every one of these, and the comments on the last video genuinely shaped the topics in this one. Thank you for watching. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button. More videos like this are already in production, and if you're ready for the next one, click the video on screen right now. YouTube thinks you'll like it.